A true crime twist tonight. Could an autism diagnosis keep an accused killer off death row? We may get the answer to that question from a courtroom up in Idaho.
The defense team representing the man accused in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students is asking the court to take the death penalty off the table because of autism. One of the victims had family here in the Valley, and true crime correspondent Briana Whitney is here with this latest twist.
Seems like this case is in the headlines each day right now. A lot of people paying attention to this until the trial that's coming this summer. This could potentially set a precedent with a lot of implications going forward. After all, there are people on Arizona's death row right now who have documented autism diagnoses. A criminal defense attorney says if the defense team gets their way on this, we'll likely see this go all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. All eyes on Bryan Kohberger, months before his high-profile murder trial is set to begin. And now, an unexpected twist: autism and what that means for the death penalty.
Defense teams always don't want to reveal their cards until they have to.
Russ Richelsoph is a criminal defense attorney unaffiliated with the case but familiar with the facts. The 30-year-old is accused of stabbing college students Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin to death at an off-campus home in Idaho. Xana has family here in Arizona. A new court filing this week shows the defense team has filed a motion to strike the death penalty from the case, citing an autism spectrum disorder, and a motion to keep those new records sealed. This is the first time the possibility of autism has been brought up in this case, years after the murders. Richelsoph says there may be a reason why.
The interesting thing about criminal law is the prosecutor is required to disclose pretty much everything. The defense is only required to disclose what they're going to use. It's possible this diagnosis has been around for a while and they've, made this kind of last-minute decision to go forward with this argument.
But how would this hold up in a court of law? Richelsoph says in 2002, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled people with intellectual disabilities can't be subject to the death penalty, at the time deemed mental retardation, a phrase that is no longer used. But medical experts say not all autism diagnoses rise to that level.
I question whether a court will just make a blanket ruling that a person who has autism spectrum disorder is not eligible for the death penalty.
In 2023, Brian Patrick Miller, the man known as the zombie hunter who committed the Canal murders in the 90s, was sentenced to death for the killings. Miller not only had diagnosed autism, but also dissociative amnesia. Richelsoph says if a judge were to rule in favor of Kohberger and the death penalty was stricken due to autism,
I'm certain the state would appeal it. I think that's a question that would ultimately get to the U.S. Supreme Court, and then the U.S. Supreme Court would make a decision.
It's still unknown if there has been a concrete diagnosis for Kohberger or if the defense team is seeking a diagnosis. This also comes after his defense team tried to get the death penalty removed earlier, claiming it was unconstitutional in this case for a variety of reasons. As of now, Bryan Kohberger's trial is set to begin in August.
Are we just at the point where they're throwing stuff against the wall?
I mean, yeah, basically that's what they're trying to do here. They know that this is such a high-profile case. They're going for any possible opportunity here. I think when it comes to this, the judge will probably look at competency. Was he competent to stand trial? Did he understand, what happened here was wrong? Can you understand that as the defendant in this case? And could you understand the nature of the death penalty, what that means for you, and acknowledge that that is the ultimate kind of consequence? So I think that's what it's probably going to come down to. Obviously, there is a huge range of autism diagnoses and what that means for somebody's mental health state.
It's a vast spectrum, so I can imagine this would be an extreme precedent for so many cases.
Yes.
Briana, thank you.